So, in terms of A10, A10 is error proofing a program. So I want you to take any program that you've done so far in the term, and I want you to use both look before you leap and easier to ask for forgiveness than permission to make that program crash proof. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But here are some places where you want to think about things. Okay? Anytime you get user input, anytime you do a calculation, anytime you add something to a list or retrieve something from a list, or if you're saving or retrieving data, which we haven't really done a whole lot of number 4 yet, but we're going to soon. So you want to remember that one. So let's look at an example of how this might look in practice. And here I have a shape calculator. Okay, this is the advanced calculator assignment, but it's updated a little bit because I'm using custom functions for calculating the circle and the triangle. And in those cases, I'm asking for the base and the height of the triangle. I'm asking for the radius of the circle. Then I'm doing calculations. And here's my main part of the program where I have my menu and I'm choosing which shape I want to do. And then under each one, I have calculate triangle and calculate circle. So this is a basic program. Let's run this. So if I enter 1 for triangle, I want the base times height is, and then the area of the triangle is 25. Would I like another calculation? Yes. So if I enter circle, let's say I enter the radius and I enter the word 10. Now I'm having errors. Okay, so I'm going to modify this program to make those errors less likely to occur. And those likely to occur errors are happening in my triangle and my circle functions up here. So this is where I'm going to do error handling. So let's first do look before you leap. And so what I want to do, look before I leap, this is where the error is happening right here. So what I need to do is I need to take this code and separate those two before I turn them into a float. I need to make sure that those are useful. And I'm actually not going to accept a float. I'm going to accept whole numbers only so I can turn them into an int. So if I want to say if base, and I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to say while true. Let's trap the user in a loop because I'm going to make them give me what I want here before I move on. And I'm going to say if base is numeric, then I'm going to say int base equals int base. So I'm going to convert that there, and then I'm going to hit break. Cool. So that works. Same thing with height. I need to prevent the error there too. While true, I'm going to ask for the height, and then I'm going to say if height dot is numeric, then int height equals int height. And then I'm going to break out of that loop. So I got two little mini loops in here, making sure. And then this is int height and int base. Okay, so there is my calculate triangle. And when I run that, if I go triangle and then I say 10, it's just going to keep asking me. So I enter 10 there. Let's say if I say FIVE for 5, it's going to keep asking me. So I might as well type what it wants. And now it gives me what I want when I've entered the things correctly. Would I like another calculation? Let's say no. So there is my look before you leap. I'm checking before I make the thing, before I do the thing that's going to cause the error. So in terms of calculating the circle, what I can do here is, let's create a while true loop here. And then I'm going to try this line of code, because this is what's going to produce the error, is when I try and convert their input to a float. Now I must have an exception. Print, you must enter a numeric value. Okay, so notice I'm not trying to see if they entered a number before I convert it. I'm just going to convert it. And if the error happens, then it will tell them. If they enter the correct thing, it won't produce an error. And then they will break out of the loop. So now circle. If I go in here, enter the radius. There's my error message, but it doesn't crash the program. And there is my area of the circle. So that one is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. Okay, so that's what each one of those looks like in practice. Look before you leap. We're checking before we do the transformation that produces the error. And here we are letting the error happen, but we're catching it. So that's the assignment, is to take, and I would suggest that maybe your advanced calculator assignment is the perfect place to do this, but you can choose any assignment you want to out of the ones we've studied so far. You just need to use both EAFP and look before you leap. Okay? So you got some time to work. Go ahead and use it wisely, and then we will get into Module 11 next